Hey Russell fam, in today's video, I'm going to share with you 8 things you need to know before you homeschool. We'll be back in just a second. Hi, my name is Becky and welcome to our Russell's Loving Life YouTube channel. Here on this channel, we talk about homeschooling, homemaking, and everything in between. I am a homeschooling mom of 2 and I have been homeschooling since 2012. We also have a blog, which is russellslovinglife.com. Make sure to check that out. There, I give you tips and tricks and things that I have learned through my years of homeschooling. We also have a store. I will leave a link down in the description box if you want to check that out. New products are added weekly. If you are new to this channel, please consider subscribing and clicking that little bell notification down at the bottom. That just lets you know every time we upload a new video. And if you are a returning Russell fam, we are so glad you are back. In today's video, I'm going to share with you 8 things that I think you need to know before you homeschool. I know you're probably watching this video because you're on the fence, not quite sure if you want to homeschool. I'm going to start by telling you it is the best decision I ever made for my family. So don't let people tell you what's best for your family. You know what works and what's best for you. So that's not one of the things, but that's one of the major things that I think you need to know because you're watching this video to learn about homeschooling and everything you possibly can. I know this decision is big. You feel overwhelmed, you feel stressed. Believe me, I've been there, done that. Lots of homeschooling mamas and families have been there, but you've got to do your research and you have to make the decision that's best for your family. Keep that in mind in every decision that you're making for homeschooling is what is best for you. So the first thing that I'm going to tell you that you're going to hear a lot is from your friends and family, why do you want to homeschool? Why? That is the biggest question that I got asked when I told my friends and family that I was going to homeschool is, why do you want to do it? Everybody's why is different. My why is because my son was very sick as an infant, as a baby, as a toddler, and we had to bring him out of preschool. We had to bring him home. I had to come home and stay with him. And so we made the decision to homeschool for that reason, for one of them. The second reason we decided to homeschool was because we wanted a Christian-based curriculum. We wanted our children to be able to learn about the Bible as well as the other subjects. They go hand in hand. Our history starts from the creation of the Bible and goes forward. The other reason is because we wanted our children to learn what we thought was best for them, what they needed to know. We wanted them to not necessarily be in a bubble, but we wanted to be able to teach them things that maybe we don't want other people teaching them or other kids teaching them, those type things. So those are the major whys we decided to homeschool. So the biggest question that will help you on this journey is why. Write your why down, look at it every day if you need to. On those hard days when you're struggling, look at your why, and it will make it better, I promise. But that is the question you're going to get asked, and you need to know your why. The next thing that you need to know is, and you're going to hear this question asked too, is what makes you qualified to homeschool? Well, I'm a parent. I'm a mom. I know what is best for my children. I know their needs, I know their wants, I know their learning styles, I know them, and so I know what's best for them. Another thing is check your state laws because some states do actually have a qualification that you have to meet if you homeschool, and I think most of, it's not that very many states, but the biggest one is I think you have to have a GED or high school diploma. Some of them may even require a college education, I'm not sure, but check into that because there are, I think, 11 states that actually require qualifications. So check that out. But that is something you need to know before you homeschool. The next thing that you need to know is how your children are going to be socialized. That is one of the biggest questions as a homeschooling parent you're going to be asked is, how are you going to socialize your children? Well, my answer is the same way you socialize your children. My children are in church. They go to extracurricular activities. We're in homeschool groups. We go on field trips. That's just how we socialize. Just because you're homeschooled doesn't mean you're in a bubble, doesn't mean you're in a box, doesn't mean that you're just going to stay in your home all day. Basically, homeschooling is almost the complete opposite. I seem to be on the go more homeschooling than I ever did before we started homeschooling. When I worked out of the home, I still feel like I'm on the go way more now. So, because sending your children to a public or private school doesn't mean they're gonna socialize. They have to sit at a desk all day and just do work. So that doesn't mean that they get socialized. Being from a homeschool family, you actually get to interact more with different age groups because you're interacting with other homeschoolers or different people at church. Homeschooling families have a wide range of children, so your children are not going to just interact with people their age. They're going to interact with older, they're going to interact with younger, and to me, I think that's actually better than being just around people your own age all the time. So just be prepared for that question and have a plan to make sure that your children get to interact with other children because they need that. The fourth thing you need to know, and I said this earlier, is what works for my family may not work for your family. And I mean that from we don't do schedules. Schedules may work for you. Routines work for us. We use My Father's World curriculum that works for us. It may not work for you. We use Saxon Math that works for us, and it may not work for you. But as a homeschooling mom, you've got to do your research and know your family, know your children's learning style, know their reading levels, know their capabilities, and you will have no problem finding the right curriculum or the great curriculum that works for your family. Now, I know there's a lot of trial and error. I have done trial and error with curriculums, and I've had to get rid of some. And if that happens, don't panic. It's going to happen at some point during your homeschool curriculum. But just know that whatever works for Susie over here may not work for you. And that's okay, but just find what works best for your family. The fifth thing you need to know is you need to find a homeschool support system. If you are in a rural area and don't have a lot of people around you that are homeschoolers, the great thing about these days is there's YouTube, there's Facebook groups, there is always somebody somewhere that you can get support from. YouTube videos. I know there's a ton of my homeschooling friend mamas that I have met from YouTube that we support and encourage each other, and that's what it takes. So you need a homeschool support group just as much as your children do. So make sure that you make that a priority, is that you find homeschool support. The next three things I'm going to cover are things that your children are going to be told by either adults or other children. These are three things that I did not even think about. I didn't even know about until I started homeschooling, and these are things that my children tell me all the time. So the sixth thing that you need to know is your children are going to be told by either their friends or their other adults is that their grades are fake or that you're giving them grades. Well, let me tell you here right now, my children earn every single grade they get. Whether it is good, bad, ugly, or whatever, they get the grade they make. I don't give them grades. I don't give them answers. They have tests. Now, I know a lot of homeschooling mamas do not give grades to their elementary kids. I do. That's just how we do it here for us. My first grader got grades in kindergarten, and she got grades this year in first grade. And my sixth grader has gotten grades ever since he has been in kindergarten. Now, it's not a ton of grades. It's grading for their memorization of Bible verses, spelling test, math test. I haven't really started history test or science test. Those are probably going to start next year with my seventh grader. when he gets into junior high age. So he's going to get more tests, but you do what works for your family. But just know that it's going to be adults, it's going to be children. They're going to tell your children that their grades are fake or they're not making their grades. You're giving them to them. The seventh thing you need to know is your children are going to be asked by other children or adults is when are they going to go to real school? Now, I guess they mean real school as in public or private school, but us homeschooling here, this is real school. They're learning the same thing, if not more, because here at home, I'm teaching them the core subjects they need to know as well as life skills. So to me, they get real school here because they're getting real life education, hand-on-hand stuff that they need to learn, whether it's, how to do their checkbooks. Both of my children have savings accounts. They know how to run down, how to add, how to subtract, how to fill out deposit slips. They know how to wash their clothes. They know how to do their chores and clean. Those are just real life things that they're learning here at home that they don't teach at school. So just know that your kids are going to be asked about going to real school. The eighth and final thing that I think you need to know is at some point your children are going to ask you to go to public or private school. And I don't see why they ask, but they do. I think they hear it from the kids in the neighborhood or people that they interact with on, a daily basis, or at some point they're going to ask to go to school. And I think it's because the kids make it sound so fun. Like the other day, some kids in the neighborhood were telling my daughter that, oh, school lunch is awesome. We get cake, we get to go outside and play, we get this, this, and this. And they make it sound so fun. So they're going to ask you at some point to go to school. Just be prepared for it. I keep telling my children the same things. They are going to be homeschooled as long as I am able to homeschool them. And I plan on homeschooling all the way through 12th grade. That is our plan. Now, I know God always has a different plan for us, and something may change. But as long as I am able to homeschool, my children are going to be homeschooled. I hope these 8 things have given you some information. They have helped you. They have given you this light or opened your eyes to some things that you might not have thought of. I know I didn't think about any of these things when I first started homeschooling. It's a journey that I have learned since I started homeschooling in 2012. And you're going to come across things that you didn't even think about when you decided to homeschool. I do it almost on a weekly basis. I come across something. But that's the fun part of homeschooling, is we learn as we go. As always, remember to be kind, be careful, be considerate, and have a great day. Bye.